Hello beer tubers and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the Master of Puppets. Today we're checking out more Barley beers, aka barley wines. But this is kind of like an off one because this is the barley wine and stout hybrid, or a blend of the two at least. And this is the final beer I have left from my massive haul of Croma beers that I got way too long ago that ended up just sitting in the cellar for way too long. But this is the final one. I got this one on Beerdome. And I actually have one more Croma beer, but that one is quite fresh, which is also a barley wine, which I will try in Barley or for Barley this year, alongside two barley wines also from Brazil, from Spartacus. So this here is Croma's Mezzo from 21. Wow. Okay, so it's been in the bottle for a while now. From December 21, so it's almost 2 years in the bottle. So this is a blend between bourbon barrel-aged barley wine and bourbon barrel-aged stout on 12%. And I'm guessing this could be inspired by Anchorage Endless Ending, which was a marvelous beer. These guys produce lots of big beers, lots of barrel-aged stouts and whatnot. And I think some of them I've gotten to just when they were too old. They were not too old. I should have just drunk them fresher and they would have been better. Because there was a few, like I was also going through some old cycle beer I got in Beerdome where they're like, oh, the nut flavor in this is starting to taste stale. But this is without adjuncts. I think this will be all right. So let's check it out. Pours a pitch black color in the glass that looks like an Imperial Stout. But it is a blend of Imperial Stout and barley wines. Of course it looks like that. I mean, now these days there are black barley wines that also looks like this. Tan head. Foamed up a lot when I popped it, so I hope everything's okay. It's not a beer style you expect to foam a lot, but it could happen that it had a small re-fermentation in the bottle. I mean, 2 years, who knows? Let's check out the aroma on it. Smells like a barley wine for sure. There's lots of like sweet caramelized honey to me, and bourbon, and oak and wood. Almost like a little bit of an interesting watery bourbon note, almost like as if bourbon is diluted with water. There's char, there's a bit of chocolate from malt, from the Imperial Stout, and they had some notes here themselves. Was that about barrels? No. It just says the blend, and they say caramel, bourbon, dark fruits, raisin, plum, chocolate, oak, vanilla, light notes of coconut. Charred wood, a lot of that too. There's a bit of an oxidized vibe too, interestingly enough, because it got one of these, which should really help prevent oxygen. It's got like this plastic thing underneath the cap, but oxygen will still find its way, I think. There's just something that reminds me of sherry or port a little bit, but that could also just be like dark fruit aromas. Good amounts of vanilla as well, but lots of that like sweet caramelized honey. Smells good though, smells really nice. Let's try it. Cheers, and thanks to Beerdome for the beer. Much more savory than I expected. Charry, woody, sweet and savory. Roasty, toasty. Black licorice. Red apple. It's like a lot of weird things. Like it's, dare I say, all over the place. There's lots of things going on that I'm not sure how well they work together. Just if I remember like a beer like Endless Ending. It was much more tight and cohesive, but it was also a whole lot sweeter than this. Like this is still sweet, but it's not on that level. Nor does it have to be. It's a bit more fizzy. Really nice bourbon flavor there on the second sip. I think my palate adjusted a little bit more. Vanilla, toasted almonds, charry wood. I think a lot of people would be hard pressed to say like, is this a barley wine or a stout? But you do sense both components. There's a lot of like jammy, kind of dark fruity flavors from the barley wine, alongside loads of caramel and fudge. That's then paired with slight toasty, dark chocolatey, coffee-esque vibes from the stout. It's really good though. Like I'd be really stoked if I made this myself. I think, it's on par with like probably even better than a lot of Danish barrel aged beer. It's richer and it's more full-bodied. It's not as rich as some of the American beers, but I also don't think like we're also getting a bit excessive with richness in stouts and barley wines these days. But it's really good. A little bit of a cola bean vibe as well. Almost like slightly spicy black pepper type nuance on the back as well. Yeah, I think the barley wine shines more than the stout, which is nice. The first flavor was like, ooh, what's going on? There's like savory umami and all this. But it calms down, especially also as it sits in the glass and maybe the CO2 dies a bit, because the CO2 is actually surprisingly high. It's almost like in a Bourbon County that can have high CO2 as well. But there is some nice umami and char and barrel char and that vanilla and everything. It's a really nice barrel-aged barley wine stout hybrid, Imperial Stout hybrid. But I'm not like, whoa, this is the best barrel-aged beer I've ever had. It's really well constructed, but I've had better. I've had better for sure. But I think these guys really show promise. And like I bet this might have been a bit more vibrant on the barrel component when it was fresher, because I feel like right now it's definitely there, but it feels like it's just like mellowed a bit with the age. But it'll be so fun to try the barley wine in there from them that is fairly recent. So they've learned a lot more about barrel aging and making these kind of big beers. So it's always fun to see when breweries evolve and learn. It's really fucking good though. It's really good. A little bit of licorice in there maybe too, but really, really nice like barley wine flavors up front first with all that sweet caramel fudge, dark fruit and whatnot, and then pair it with some stout components without it being too much. I think when these hybrids or blends work best is where they kind of nail that balance between the Imperial Stout and the barley wine, so it doesn't go to just one side. And I think it does it quite well. It's really good. It's really nice. Yeah, I like it. So in terms of grade, 92, 93, I think. Really nice barrel-aged barley wine. Boss Imperial Stout hybrid blend, black barley wine, whatever you want to call it. There's just a few things I'd like even more to love it even more, but I think it's actually one of the better beers from the first run. Trying them too late, but it's doing well. So yeah, nice stuff. If you guys had a chance to try Croma's Mezzo bourbon barrel-aged barley wine and Imperial Stout in bourbon barrels, blend it together. Let me know what you thought of it. 12% bad boy here. You probably can't get this on Beerdome anymore, but check them out. They recently got a new shipment of Croma beers from Brazil, and they got, amongst other, something Rosso, which is a barley wine, it's the one I had, and then they got one, I think it was Hollow Trees, which is like a gin barrel-aged sour beer that Ronald recommended I try, because apparently that's really good, so it'll be fun to try that one. But yeah, if you guys had this one, let me know what you thought of it. As always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page, Twitter, and Instagram. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And I'm going to say cheers and some beers for Barley Wember, and see you in more reviews of beers for Barley Wember. And say cheers, and see you guys in another one of those Barley Wember beer videos. Cheers.